as Wendy was saying, we had a lease with Chris, I think it was, or Oven, and recently he moved out of town to a different state, took a different job, and I don't think there's any reason to pursue enforcing his contract with him. I don't think it'd be to my benefit or anybody else's benefit. So our next big push would be to find a competent person or persons to come in there and run the business, lease it from us. The building is basically complete. They'll be putting carpeting in the second building today. We moved tables and chairs into the main building Sunday night. There's just a few minor things to finish putting up, a few paper things in the bathrooms and stuff like that. I think everything else is pretty well done, so our biggest thing now is to find someone to run the business and do it right, the way we want it to be done. So I guess other than that, I just was asked if anyone has some questions, I'll try and answer them for you.
Have you done any marketing or publicizing or advertising to see?
We haven't at this point yet, no. We are in the process of making a sign to advertise the business as open to a leaser, and that should be done this week, I think. And then we would have to, if that, and then other than word of mouth and talking to people in the area and to seeing if there is something that's available.
But now, when you say a sign, that would just be placed on the building?
That'll be in the building, yes.
Have you ever thought of doing something like out of the cities, you know, to publicize the fact that there's a potential of a business in Rushford, Minnesota to have a good restaurant, et cetera, et cetera?
As a matter of fact, we did talk to someone that thought he maybe did have some connections with a TV station that may, I don't know if it's going or not yet, but they could do a story on it and then get it publicized that way, and maybe into some areas like that, where there may be some more potential people to work it, yes.
Yeah. Because, you know, the word of mouth goes so far.
Right. Yeah.
And you've got to get to the public population of like Rochester and so on the list. Let the folks know we.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions anyone has?
Our goal is to have it open as soon as possible. I mean, that's always been, and we thought it would be open by now, but things just haven't quite fallen in place the way we wanted, and we sure need it open to have it running.
Oh, we understand.
Yeah. And the buildings look nice, and really appreciate all the help we've gotten. There should be a really nice place when it gets going.
You mentioned some unused funds or unpaid out funds?
They haven't been requested for final inspection. Our pattern is Jerry will call us and when he's ready with a piece of it. The checks are there. We just need to go down and verify that the work that was scheduled to be done has now been completed, and then the distribution is made. And I believe there are 3 checks, one to the contractor, construction contractor, one to I think NES, Norman's Electric Service, and then one to the Rivers for miscellaneous materials and equipment that they picked up along the way.
Yeah.
So at this point, the total is going to be
Somewhere in that $25,000 range.
They're going to use the.
We would anticipate. They had submitted, if you recall, when we were trying to make sure everything was allocated, they submitted, here's what we need here, here's what we're going to do there, and to make sure that, you know, we weren't overpaying or underpaying, but making it right. And we had, so far we've found that to be the case working with Jerry.
Yeah, the funds will be all used, and I can assure you that. And there's even tables and chairs are more or less I hate to call them a gift because they're put in there by my brother from another restaurant that he put in new chairs, and they're nice stuff, but he put them in there because otherwise there's probably $7,000 or $8,000 worth of equipment that was not anticipated on the bill. So.
Have you got a timeline with your health inspection that if it doesn't get up and running that you have to re-comply? Is there or anything like that that you face in the future here?
It may be, I would have to check on it, I couldn't tell you for sure, you might have something there, I'm not sure. I know that, yeah, sometimes after it goes past a certain time amount, then they have to redo it, but, the inspector from Winona, Sam Boyson, has been real good with us, he's been very helpful in making sure we get things done the way it's supposed to be done.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chair, one of the things that staff needs to be aware of is that, of course, these funds seem like they're under constant audit by somebody. Yeah. And so there's always questions being asked, and you never know when they pull loan A or B or whatever they do. And we just want to make sure that we can cover the city's responsibilities and the EDA's in terms of this particular loan. We've got everything, I think, pretty well documented where we are to date and whatnot, and at some point, I think the city or the EDA or both need to make sure they've made appropriate review so that if we have to go before others, that we can say it has been reviewed, it wasn't ignored. So I think it's important that occasionally we put this on the agenda. How often, I don't know, and I think Brad's question regarding timelines is true for the city as well. We need to have some idea, I think, of when we're going to expect something so that we don't bother him unnecessarily, but say, hey, this was the date we all agreed to. So it would be helpful, I think, that you would relay to the Rivers what your expectations are, because right now we're about, I think, Jerry, we were originally going to open sometime in August of last year. Was that?
Well, yeah, that was...
I mean, with the other individual, that was his hope.
Well, yeah, and the building was not ready. I mean,
Yeah.
we cannot say it was totally his fault either if he had been ready.
Right, so we've been backed up there.
Yeah, there was probably premature expectations. The building was not ready, it was not done, and things just didn't move as fast as what we thought they would.
The sign beat the events.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a time that you'd offer to the group to say, this is when I think things might be, so that they can hold us responsible and we can at least make a contact? And
without having someone that's there, I mean, a person that would be running it, no, I don't think that'd be any reason to say that, because not that I don't want to see it open, but without someone that's going to lease it, I sure can't give you a time that's going to be open. In a month would be great if we find someone in that time frame. But I just don't want to stick someone in there that's not competent either. No. That would not you have it open for 6 months and then close.
How soon before payments start coming from this situation?
Some of the 1A would probably...
That's starting up now December as well, or just...
I think it was 2011 if I'm not mistaken.
I guess my point is, if he's got to be paying the loan on a regular basis, that's going to give him incentive to find someone to fit the bill. But if it doesn't start for another year, the incentive may not be there. I'm sure that you're busy with your own work, so I'm not sure how much time you're going to dedicate to filling the empty.
Well, the incentive is there, I mean, because we're constantly paying on the building and heating, the winter and all that. We've got bills that accumulate when someone isn't in there. I mean, we've got plenty of incentive to get it going if there's, besides the loan that has to be repaid.
In May of 2011. First day starts on Monday.
Could we request that you give us an update, let's say, monthly or whatever time, so that we have some ideas, and you could convey that to staff?